double, double.
Hey everybody, this is Greg Aalvik. Welcome to the Double A show, and check it out. Everyone is asking me, why you call it Double A? Well, if you know my last name, it starts with two A's. Ask the Norwegians. They spelled shit back then with two A's. So therefore, you're sitting there watching the Double A show. Isn't that great? The Double A show is all about making you stronger, making you more resilient. And so we're changing the way we're thinking, because a lot of things in our past, from generations gone by, have come along and messed us up and attacked our thought life and gave us weird, funky ideas, especially from church. And that's where I'm focused on, the funky ideas we got from church, and we need to change them. And adding more truth in there, it changes your spiritual experience and you become more spiritually successful. Yeah, that's a thing, right? I mean, it is. And I'm telling you, if you want to win spiritual battle, you're going to have to learn about girding your loins, right? In truth. I need to get everybody on the same page. So I was going to have to go back and tell a few Bible stories so you understand where I'm coming from, right? Because this thing keeps coming up and keeps coming up. So here you go. Double A is going to begin a new series, Bible Stories with Greg. These are going to be different from any Bible story you ever heard told, especially if you grew up in church. A series within a series. So we got to go back to Genesis, all the way back to the beginning. Genesis, you know. And I think to continue, we really need to talk about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So here we go. What was the fall of man? That's what just keep this in mind. What was the fall of man exactly? Was it obedience? Like most of the churches tell us, or was it actually the content of what was ingested? The way they teach it is, it's all about the act of disobeying. And they got us doing something. It's about the act of disobedience itself, and where we're doing something that God told us not to do. Thou shalt not touch the scrotum of a canine. Thou mayest touch all the scrotums of every beast of the field, every creature of which the Lord your God hath made. But in the day that thou extendest thy hand to know the touch of dog balls, get the fuck away from me, dog. Which is an abomination unto the Lord, and you're going to die. I think it was the food. All right? You got to look at the food. Was it poisonous? Tell me. You know the story? Do you think God told us what it was? I do. I think he told us what the poison was in the title, in the name of the tree. But it seems nobody got that memo, and almost every church denomination preaches it like it was punishment for disobedience. God just said, nah, you did it. I told you not to touch that shit. Now look what you did. So now everybody who ever lived from now on, billions and billions of people are not just going to be tortured for all eternity because of you. They're going to wish they were dead. Because I'm not talking about death. I'm talking about torture. You ate the wrong motherfucking apple, asshole. I'm going to punish your ass forever and ever. I had to ask something right here. Ask a theologian. They teach there's life after death, right? I mean, the whole point. Some of us go to heaven, some of us go to hell, right? But who actually died? In that arc of you go into heaven, you're alive, right? You go to hell, you're alive. Otherwise, the torture thing is useless, right? You got to have something alive to torture. So if either case, no one died, God lied. He's describing something else, I think. And And you got to relook at what you think death is automatically. What is it to God? What is death to God? Because God can't die, right? And if it's true that our spirit is from him, if that's true, that he knows he is our very essence, then God knows our consciousness continues to thrive after we leave this body. So what is death? What kind of death was God talking about when he warned us not to ingest the knowledge of good and evil? I would suggest it's the state of our eternal consciousness. It's not about location. It's about what's going on inside your head. Even people who believe in hell think you're conscious, right? And because you're being tortured. So in hell, you're not dead officially. The light hasn't shut off. You're not extinguished. You're going through torture. And if you go to heaven, you're skipping around, yippee skippy up in the clouds, right? And you're doing some kind of shit in a heavenly body up there. But you're not dead there either. But you're both dead to this world as far as your earthly body goes. And our physical body is done, right? That's dead. But we're not dead. So did their physical bodies die? Well, obviously their physical bodies didn't die neither. Why don't the Bible talk about the night that they fucked up, that night? Like, the Bible don't say shit about it. And you know they'd be sweating bullets like a motherfucker. You know? Like, come on. You know they would. I'd be tripping like hard. I bet they was like, oh shit, here comes God. This is your fault, bitch. I knew I shouldn't have listened to you. You was trouble the first minute I laid eyes on you. Look at you, you nasty things. Oh, will you quit that? You quit that right now. Adam, you're always doing that. You'd think they'd have shared that shit with their progeny. You know, like, man, that night, we thought for sure we was dead. Nothing happened. And not a word of that night is in the Bible. Honey, I'm sorry, bitch. I should have not let you wander off by yourself. It's my fault. Sorry. This ain't paradise. Who said this was paradise? God said it was paradise. Oh, shit. I hope you didn't hear me. You know, we're dead. We're dead. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no mention of them freaking out. They didn't. Not only that, but the Bible says Adam lived on for another 930 years. And of course, y'all know wives outlived their husbands, right? But the Bible's definitely done back in the age of the patriarchy when it was all man. It was all about men, right? So it doesn't say shit about Eve, you know. But I digress. Actually, if you notice, I do that a lot. I digress. And I do it all the fucking time. But people call it rabbit trailing. Others call it digression. But I got to tell you, pretty good at it. I've gotten good at digressing over the years. For instance, right now I'm on this incredibly extensive, fantastically orchestrated digression. And if I do say so myself, I'm going to try to find my way back to the point. Dying. Did you believe that they were going to die when you heard the story? Did you take Elohim literally? That's the name of the Hebrew God in the Bible. Elohim, right? From back in the day. Did you think there was going to die dead physically? Let me just give some basic intellectual credit to the writers of this story. Whoever was that wrote it. God wrote it. Possibly not. I don't see a pen in God's hand. But if you was going to sabotage your main character in the first 3 pages of a big-ass book that's supposed to be about you, you kind of rendered the rest of the book useless if that's the way you threw it down, right? So I really don't think that's what God meant. And let's just give a little credit that we need to look at what death is differently. So in the day you eat thereof, you're going to die. God wasn't talking about that kind of death. I really want to ridicule people who think that, because believing the story is referring to physical death is just stupid. Maybe God was talking about a different kind of death. I think we have to look at what the name of the poison was that they ate, because I think they were poisoned and it killed. The poison was of a nature that it killed their ability to live abundantly. They died to their spiritual identity. And when their perceptions switched, it made them carnal. It made them earthlings. It made them see things from an earthly perspective, which is carnality at its very essence. So let's believe the Bible for a sec. Whoever the fuck was up in the tree talking out the tree, there's a snake, some shit up in the tree. It said, God knows your eyes will be opened. Then we read, so they ate, and their eyes were open. Okay, slow down, take a breath. Their eyes were opened. It's not at all too far-fetched to conclude that the effect of this poison opened their eyes, because it says so, and their eyes were open. Now, at this point, there are a million different directions that people always go, and their interpretations get all crazy. It spans from physical interpretations, literal ones, to spiritually tripping, and they tripping about self-consciousness and self-awareness and trying to get all deep like that. But let's not do that right now. I get it. And you can run around and do all that on those trails you want to. All I'm saying is they ate the fruit and their eyes were opened. And no one can argue that point, because that's exactly what it says. But consider this. You can't eat knowledge, right? That ain't the way you gain knowledge, by eating shit. You don't get wise, you don't gain wisdom when you eat something. Was that the lie? I don't think so, but let's keep it straight. No one ate no fruit that changed their knowledge. If you believe that, you need to go find that fruit and eat a whole bunch of it, because you're dumb and the bored, motherfucker. You need some wisdom, bruh. It's just a fucking story. First off, it's Jewish poetry, and this ain't really a factual account of the beginning. Sorry. Did I say that? It's a poem, motherfucker, conveying the overarching story of man. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're talking about something else here. They're talking about an immense change. It's an obvious, it's a giant shift that took place right after they ate this poison. It's called the knowledge of good and evil. That's the poison. And this change is simply in their perception and in their perspective. And the knowledge of good and evil is a mindset they stepped into. The knowledge of good and evil changed the way they looked at everything. And it changes the way we look at everything. Everything that surrounds you. It changes. It changes it so you're looking at it all from a different plane. This story strongly suggests it wasn't the act of disobedience. It wasn't the act of sin. It was the irreversible damage that would come from the shift in perception. Adam never thought about these things from that perspective before. Humanity was represented by Adam, right? And really it's Eve that's the picture of mankind as a bride to Adam, because the husband who regularly symbolizes the Lord in these pictures. But this is supposed to be paradise, right? The image of perfection, right? They were removed from this seemingly perfect state of living because they were no longer able to see it that way anymore. They were thrown out. They were standing in the middle of perfection. This is my pet peeve right here. I can't even tell you how irritating it is. People could stand right in the middle of heaven, right in the middle of the Garden of Eden, right in the middle of the life they're living right now. And it could be absolutely perfect, but they'd never see it because their perception is eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They're listening to a serpent talking to them, trying to get them to judge good and bad about everything they do in life. And that fucks it up. It messes it all up. Nothing actually changed. It's the poison. The second you eat that shit, you're a dead man. Yet you'll be walking around thinking, look at this shit. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Not to God. Spiritually, you're dead. When you're standing here on earth and you begin judging what's good and evil, you kill everything. And you even kill yourself. Your thinking is fucked up permanently. You can take lap after lap around the internet and listen to 1,500 motherfuckers talking about this shit. But 99% of them are coming from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. 99% of them are telling you disobedience. But what I just showed you probably makes more sense than anything you ever heard. And I want you to understand that, because as a foundation, it's absolutely something we need to realize makes us miserable. It knocks us out of paradise. It kicks us out. But God placed an angel there. And a lot of people say that angel was to keep us from going back in. But the Bible says the angel was placed there to keep the way to the Garden of Eden. So I'm going to go with that. I kind of like that idea. I'm going to say there's an angel standing guard, making sure you have a way back to a better way of thinking. So consider the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. And we'll get into that next go around. In the meantime, this is Double A, the Double A show. You like my mug, man? I'm telling you, man, this is a cool mug. I got it. It's here. And you could be a Double A show fan and drink with me, whatever you want to drink. I don't be drinking that shit. Don't be talking about, you know what? And I'll come back with the next Bible story, and you'll all be listening to Double A tell some Bible stories going forward. I want you to hit the like button. Thank you for watching this part of the series. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. That's a lot of button pushing. Don't be pushing my buttons, man. It's really something that helps me out. And if you write a comment, people say if you write comments on below things, whatever it is, it just shows more activity and it hits the algorithms. And it skyrockets you into oblivion as far as fame and fortune and I don't know. I don't know any of that shit. Just tell your friends about me. Share it. That would be the best thing ever, man. If you shared it, liked and shared. Liked and shared. You know I'm on Rumble too, right? I'm on Rumble because of all this stuff that's rumbling around on the internet these days. I got on Rumble. I love you guys and peace. All right? We're going to lock this thing up right now. All right. Delicious. Double.